Hello, and welcome to the weekly reading. This is one of the oils I'm using right now in this energy that we're having, which is a wonderful one for cleansing the airways and helping us literally to just breathe more deeply when we need it. But if you don't have breathe, I recommend peppermint oil. There is peppermint in the breathe blend, and it is really good for kind of getting deep into the brain space. And I've got a selenite wand there and a beautiful, isn't that heart beautiful? It's Shattuckite heart. So for this week, we are starting with a full supermoon in Aquarius. We have Venus retrograde all week. She's been retrograde a little while now. She's had her first week, I believe. And we have Mercury entering into his shadow by later in the week at 8 degrees of Virgo. That will be the shadow point for us to prepare for the upcoming Mercury retrograde. There will be a period of time where both Venus and Mercury will be retrograde together. So remember, this is a general reading. It's not a personalized one. So you make it more personalized by choosing a card or two between 1 and 4. And then that is going to have more pertinence for you. And of course, I am available for personal readings for those who are interested. Let's jump into the cards for the week. And here they are. So I feel like we were really Pentacles heavy last week. I meant to check, but I forgot. Anyway, we've got the Three of Pentacles and the Two of Pentacles. So early in the Pentacles journey, but it didn't escape me that these look somewhat like Pentacles as well on the wheel card, the discs on the wheel card. But we kind of start the reading with this energy of community, which is so perfect because Aquarius is a sign of community. It is a sign of groups working together for a greater future, for a greater tomorrow. And in fact, it is a supermoon, so it's very strong. And in terms of traditional rulership, Saturn is the ruler of Aquarius. So again, the materialness of this Pentacles card, don't think that's a word, but the creating something that is actually tangible is very Saturnian. And the Three of Pentacles is that. It's like connecting to the group where you can actually do something and produce something tangible, something that does serve. It's not just an idea of something, because sometimes with Aquarius, there's all these ideas and they're a little bit ahead of their time and wild and wonderful and quirky and crazy. And at the time that they come first sort of enter the space, nobody can understand what that Aquarian is trying to get across to us, what that Aquarian energy is trying to say, because it's so far outside of the realm of our experience and understanding that we don't get it. And of course, that is just completely what is happening with us in society right now in general, is like we know there's change afoot. We know it's needed and necessary. We're not comfortable in the old space anymore, and we're not sure how to be comfortable in whatever it is that we're creating because we don't even know what that is. And that has been a big theme for us now for quite some time, and it's an ongoing one. And so this card for me is just that moment of saying, yes, but what can we kind of concretize? What can we, and I feel like this was coming up last week as well, like what can we look at that we are already putting into play? What have we already begun to shift? Because sometimes, big shifts start with small shifts, and maybe we're not giving ourselves the time to recognize how much we are making small shifts. And if we kind of look at the whole story, we'll see how far we have come. Then the devil card coming up upside down for me this week is really exciting. So there's two main ways it can go. And I'm definitely, for the most part, for the most of us, I'm choosing to, I'm going to tell you the first one, and that's the one that feels stronger for me. But of course, you have to take it into your own life and decide which one that is. But I think generally the first one is for more of us, and that is the readiness to change, the readiness to find freedom from our addictions and release from our habits that aren't healthy for us. And that's the one that feels stronger. It's like we just cannot avoid the change, and it's kind of an exhausted point in our journey where it's just going, okay, fine, I'm ready. Just change. Let something just change. I don't care how hard it is. I'm ready to let it go. The second one, which may apply to you, and this is where you have to check in for yourself, is and you may have a bit of both happening. So just be honest with yourself, because that's what this is about, self-accountability. But that's exactly what the second one is, where you're not ready to be self-accountable. You're not ready to take responsibility for your part, your role in negative cycles for others based on your own negative cycles, your own bad behaviors, your own addictive tendencies, that you are impacting others with your behavior, but you're not ready to take accountability and responsibility for them. So I do think that there'll be a level of that for all of us, for sure. But for some of us, that one might be like a punch in the gut. And then if that's how you feel about that card, then take some time to work with that, to journal on it, to meditate on it, to whatever it is that you do to process your stuff. And if you are looking for extra personal support, please do get in touch. Then we have the Two of Pentacles, which obviously comes before the Three of Pentacles. And anytime we see a two, there is a choice to be made. It's time. There's only so far when choices need to be made, there's only so far that we can deflect those choices. And sometimes we choose by not choosing. And I think that the practical Pentacles suit is really saying, choose. You have to choose. Nobody's going to choose for you. You have to make that decision. You have to make that choice. If you want to take things out of the ethereal and into the material, you need to choose. Because again, it comes back to being responsible for yourself and accountable for yourself. If you just avoid making the decision until somebody else makes the decision, what it seems like they've made the decision for you, then you're not taking responsibility for this decision. You're not saying, okay, I chose that I wasn't going to do that anymore. I was leaving that job or that relationship, or I was staying in that job or that relationship. That was my choice, and I am responsible for my choice. If you don't make the choice and you kind of force another to make the choice, then you never really take responsibility for your choices, and therefore you can never really be the hero of your own story and stand in your own power. So even though it's not super comfortable for many of us, myself included, this is really what we're being pushed to do. Make that choice. It's a really important thing for us right now. And then, jumping back, but it's not even, it's kind of inevitable. We don't have a choice but to choose. The world is changing. Situations around us are changing. The more that you are autonomous in your own choices, and remember, Venus is retrograde in the autonomous sign of Leo, the more that you take responsibility and accountability, the more quickly you can build yourself into the life that you want. The more that you avoid it, the more you drag out the drama. Okay, jumping into our last card here, we've got the Wheel, and this is the midway point on the journey of the Major Arcana, and it's kind of like that point, especially when it's upright. It's that point of saying, it's a spin of the wheel. It's in this deck, it's just called the Wheel, but in traditional tarot, it's called the Wheel of Fortune, and it's like a spin, and you get to spin, and you see where it lands, and sometimes it goes, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. But for me, based on what the rest of this reading has been about, and based on the trajectory of readings that have been kind of coming over time, is that we're really ready to choose, back to the Two of Pentacles, and being ready to release the devil's addictive parts of ourselves, and being ready to work together and collaborate, co-communicate, etc. We are actually ready to choose the life that is positive for us. And a lot of it's in our perspective of that. We can be in a difficult situation and we can choose to see the good in it, or we can just choose to see the bad in it. That's a choice. Again, it's a choice that we have. It's a choice that you get to make. Do you want to? And that's not to say that difficult things are not difficult. Difficult things are damn difficult. Otherwise, we wouldn't be struggling with them. But can you see the good in the bad every time? And recognize equally that every time you're at a high in your life, there's some challenge that is still there, or your high is maybe tarnished by another's low. So shadow and light, and look at this card. You can see in one hand she holds the shadow, in one hand she holds the light. I mean, that's a roll of the dice. It's a spin of the wheel for all of us. That's the wheel turns. There will be times of shadow and times of light, day and night. That's what it is. It's not good or bad. It's how we face it. It's how we face it. And I do feel like it's really in a positive space right now, especially if we do, as the whole reading has suggested, don't take all the responsibility on yourself. You're doing this as a tribe. The Three of Pentacles, like, find your tribe, find your people. And then doing things as a tribe means that you are never fully accountable for everything that goes on in the world, but you are accountable for checking in with your habits that are no longer serving you and choosing to free yourself from them as far as possible. You are responsible for making choices pertaining to you, not allowing or pushing others to make those choices for you. And you are responsible for the perspective in which you choose to live your life. Do you choose to see the glass as half full, or do you choose to see the glass as half empty? And I just heard such a beautiful analogy of this. I can't remember. It was like a spiritual guru was asked, is the glass half full or the glass half empty? And the response was, the glass is full. And the person was like, well, well, it's half full with water. So do you mean that it's half full? No, it's completely full. Half of it is full with water and the other half is full with air. And that's the first time I'd heard that perspective. And I just love that. And I feel like that's a perfect note to end on, because that is exactly what we can choose with the wheel card at the end of our reading. Have a beautiful week. Please don't be afraid to check out the link below and get in touch if you want some personal support. Thanks for your time.